Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of the Everything Medicare Podcast. Today is February 11th. We're starting to get closer to the middle of the month. This year is just flying by, 2019. I'm your host, Christian Brindle, where every single Monday I bring you a podcast where I talk about your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and everything that has to do with your retirement. And today I'm talking about Medicare supplements again. I'm going to switch it up in the upcoming weeks, but this is a topic that I think is really important and something that I wanted to dive into and dedicate an entire episode to, and that is Medigap Plan F. And is it or is it not going away in 2020? What does that mean for you if you have Plan F? And can you keep it if you have it? Are you going to lose it? Are you going to be forced to pick something else? These are questions I'm going to be answering today. But first and foremost, I just wanted to say, before I get too deep into this, I want to say thank you to everybody that listens to us and has been listening to us. It'll be almost a year since we started the Everything Medicare Podcast. That's crazy for me to think about. And if we get enough support, we will start bringing you 2 podcasts a week. And we're going to be starting and making more educational YouTube videos, so keep tuned for that if you're on YouTube or you've seen any of our videos on YouTube. We're going to be starting that up very, very soon here, and we're going to be trying, our goal is to make a video a week, and then we might up that to 1 video a day, but we'll kind of see how it goes. We'll start small for now. Okay, so Plan F. Is it going away in 2020? The answer is yes and no. It's not something that it's a little complicated, so let me explain. Let me just first start off by explaining the history of Plan F. Plan F, and if for any of you that have gotten my Medigap book, my Medicare supplement book, I wrote a book just about Medigap. It's called Medigap 101. It's on Amazon. It's my second book. I don't talk about it as much as I do Medicare guidance because it's a bore to read. It really is, because it's all about Medicare supplements, and I had to fill a whole book about Medicare supplements, and so there's some fillings in there, some fillers just to get through the book, and but it is a book that will explain Medigaps in a very good way, and I think it's a good book, but it's a bore to read. You know, it's not, Medicare guidance probably is the most exciting thing to read either, but Medigap 101 is probably a real bore. Even I have trouble getting through it, but if you really want to know everything there is to possibly know about a Medigap/Medicare supplement, Medigap 101 is a good book for you. It's a blue book. It's on Amazon. Go check it out. Enough of me being promotional, though. So, in 1992, okay, I'm going to give you the brief history of the Medicare supplements. They've gone through a lot of changes over the years, and I go into great detail in Medigap 101, but they've gone through a lot of changes over the years, and a lot of tweaks, and a lot of things that really, have made them change, although they've been around. They didn't actually become the Medigaps we know today until 1992, to where a bunch of new plans came out into the marketplace. Plan F, Plan C, amongst others. Plan F being the most notable and the most popular, because it was the only Medigap, and to this day, still is the only Medigap that pays everything that Medicare does not pay for. So 1992 to 2019, that is 27 years. So that's a long time for a Medigap to be in the marketplace. You think 27 years, that's not that old, but for an insurance policy, for a Medicare supplement, that is very old. That's ancient for an insurance policy. You know how they do dog and cat years? Well, if there were Medigap years, that'd be like 500 years old. So Plan F has been in the marketplace ever since 1992. It's been very, very popular, immensely popular, and the popularity really started to die down probably 2013. But up until then, it was known as the Cadillac plan, because it was the only plan that paid 100% of what Medicare doesn't pay for. So it was a true 80-20 deal. Medicare paid 80% of the bills. The Plan F paid 20% of the bills, and you had no copays, no deductibles, no out-of-pocket, as long as it was a Medicare-approved charge. We've talked about this in the past. And while the other Medigaps, like Plan N, came with some kind of copays, Plan G has a deductible, although Plan G and Plan N didn't come into the picture until 2010. But I wanted to paint a picture so you can kind of see where everything's coming from. Plan F, being in the marketplace that long, being as popular as it was, there are an insane amount of people on Plan Fs with all different kinds of insurance companies in the United States of America. In every state, Plan F is the most sought out and most purchased Medigap in the history of Medigaps. Stay with me and I'll break into what that has to do with you and why they're tweaking it and making some changes and why it may or may not be going away. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back, folks. Segment 2, here we go. Everything Medicare Podcast, Christian Brindle. It's Monday, February 11th, 2019. I don't know where you are or where you may be listening to this from, but here in Utah, I live in the Salt Lake area. I'm not going to say particularly, but it's snowy. It's been very snowy. It's very cold. Utah's a very weird state. Utah is the type of place where it can be mildly cold in December, fairly cold in January, but there are some years we have here in Utah where February is the coldest month we have all year. It's very strange. You'd think January would be the coldest month, or maybe even December. Not in Utah sometimes. Now there are years where January is colder than February and vice versa, but we're in the middle of the coldest month we've had all year, including 2018, February to February. Back to the topic, Plan F. Okay, so we kind of talked about the history of it. So we know there's more people on Plan Fs than any other Medigap ever. That's a fact. There's no disputing that. Plan G, Plan N, they're newer plans. There's not as many people on them. They haven't been around in the marketplace long enough to have as many people on those plans. So when Plan N and Plan G first came out in 2010, Plan F was still looked at as the superior plan, even though for those of you who have listened to me for some time, you know that I have said that, in my opinion, I think right now Plan G is the most viable plan, followed by Plan N. Plan F becoming in third at the moment in 2019. Basically, Plan F's prices started to inflate. What do we know about Medigaps? The prices are determined based off of the pool of people that are on that plan. So let me paint a picture for you. Let's say XYZ Insurance Company is a huge, large national carrier. Okay? Let's say there's 1,000 people. Of course, there'd be a lot more than that, but just bear with me for the sake of example. Let's say there's 1,000 people on XYZ Insurance Company's Plan F. And let's say 100 of them have terrible health and they use the plan constantly, but 900 of them just use it here and there. There's quite a few of them that don't even use it at all. They're healthy. The average of everyone's usage rate determines everyone's rate increases and what the rates will be in the marketplace going forward. It's not based off of per usage per person, it's based off of the pool that you're a part of. So when you sign up for a Medigap with any insurance company, you're becoming part of a pool of every other person that has that plan with that insurance company. Now, if an insurance company is large enough, you might only be part of the pool for that state. If insurance companies maybe not so large, it might be you're part of the pool, and that has to do with all 50 states, if they're in all 50 states or everywhere they're located. And the average usage rate determines what the price will be, what the rate increases will be. That's how Medigap economics and rates work. So, let's say someone's on a Plan F. Let's say I'm turning 65 in 2019, and I get on a Plan F with who's an insurance company that's been around forever. I'm not going to say any names. Let's say I get on a Plan F with an insurance company that has been doing Plan Fs since the beginning, since 92. I'm becoming part of a pool with people that are in their 90s, 80s, people that have been on these Plan Fs and that have gotten on them all the way from 92 all the way till now. Some might have gotten on in 2000, 2005, 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some might have gotten on in 95, 96, 97, 98. I'm becoming part of a pool. And I'm becoming part of a pool that probably consists of quite a few people that are extremely elderly. There's nothing wrong with that, but if I'm thinking about my own pocket and I want to pay the best deal, it's not the greatest thing to think about to an extent, because the older someone gets, statistically speaking, for the most part, most people end up having more health problems when they're older than to suppose when they're not quite as old. And so this has affected Plan F prices. They've become inflated from ever since Plan G and N came into the market. They became more and more inflated. Not so much to do with G and N, but more to do with that the Plan F has been around for so long. So these prices have become inflated to where they're much higher than they were even 4 or 5 years ago. Certainly much higher than they were a decade ago. In 2009, Plan F has become so inflated as far as price is concerned. A lot of times you can save $30 or more a month between going to a G. When you're turning 65, it can be that much cheaper. Sometimes someone that's on an F can save $100 a month with a G, switching over to a G. They become that inflated, so the prices have become so high, and there's so many people on a Plan F. So they decided that they were going to phase them out. All Medicaps phase out sooner or later. It will happen to G someday, and it will happen to N someday. I very much believe it. For those of you who have been on Medicare for some time, you might have heard of a plan called a Plan J that was extremely popular for some time. It didn't last. It got grandfathered in. So let's talk about what that means for you. In 2020, the Plan F is being what's called grandfathered in. It doesn't mean you're going to lose it. Now, it's going to work quite a bit differently than they've done it with other Medicaps over the years, though. Much different than Plan J, because when they grandfathered Plan J, it worked like this. Everyone that had a Plan J got to keep their plan, but no new people could get Plan J. So if you didn't have a Plan J before they made that announcement, you weren't able to get one. But the people that had it, they don't ever have to get rid of it. They don't have to give it up. What's the rule number one of a Medigap? Once you have it, you can never lose it, as long as you pay your premium. So, with Plan F, it's going to work quite a bit differently. It's very unique, at least for the time being. They could change it. We got to keep an eye on it for the time being. But basically, with Plan F, if you have it, like Plan J, if you have it, you're not going to lose it. You're not going to be canceled. You can continue on to it. You'll be grandfathered in. And that's what you need to know. You don't have to change. There's been a lot of crooks out there advertising that you're going to have to change, otherwise you're going to lose the plan by 2020. That's bogus. If you ever hear someone tell you that, turn them into your local insurance department, because they're doing a disservice, spreading lies, and they're trying to scam you. Let's call it like it is. It's an outright lie. And chances are they know better. If they don't know better, they have no business helping people in the Medicare industry. The Medicare industry is better without them, if they really just don't know better. I expect people that are on Medicare not to know better. Why should they? The information's hard to get. It's not exactly made as public as it needs to be. That's why we do this podcast. And it's made confusing as can be. I don't expect people to be able to know that on their own. But someone that works with people on Medicare, I expect much more of them because you're impacting people's lives. You're impacting people's coverage and their protection. And if you don't guide someone correctly as an insurance professional, you can do a lot of damage. Stay with me into segment 3, and I will wrap everything up here, but I'm going to basically go over the rest of what's happening with Plan F on top of what we already talked about. Stay with me. Welcome back, and thank you for sticking with us to segment 3 of the Everything Medicare Podcast. And today we're talking about Plan F. So I'm going to wrap up here. So last segment we talked about Plan F, like Plan J, you will be grandfathered in starting 2020. However, this is something that they're doing that's kind of unique. Not everyone will not be is unable to purchase a Plan F in starting 2020 and beyond. If you are eligible for Medicare, meaning that if you were on Medicare, I should be more specific. If you were on Medicare before 2020, so let's say I turned 65 this year in 2019, and let's say I go with a Medicare Advantage plan, I would still be able to purchase a Plan F after 2020 because the rule is going to be as long as you were on Medicare before 2020, you will be able to get a Plan F. It's the people that become eligible for Medicare after 2020 that will not be able to do so. So it's being grandfathered in. There's going to have less and less people coming into the Plan Fs, but it doesn't mean you're going to lose it if you have it. And if you're eligible for Medicare now, it doesn't mean you can't get a Plan F later, at least the way it's going to be right now. They could always decide to change that. Keep that in mind. In the Medicare world, nothing is in stone. Anything can change. And so basically, this is something that's important for you to know. It's important for you to know. However, there's a large chance here that after this process happens, a lot of people are not going to be educated and they're going to think they can't get a Plan F anyway. They're just going to think they can't. Some people are going to fall for the tricks and they're going to change their plan. They're going to get off the Plan Fs because they think they have to. They think they're going to be canceled because, they're going to be lied to, deceived, misinformed, whatever the case, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to have less and less people getting onto the Plan Fs. More and more people are going to jump off of them after 2020 because of misinformation. People aging in won't be able to get it, and lots of different reasons. This will cause the Plan F rates, I am predicting, to start going up more than ever. Higher rate increases. And the reason is because, think about it. Remember how I explained earlier in the episode how the Medigap rates are based off of the pool of people that you're in that also have the same plan as you? Well, if there's no new people coming in, meaning younger people, people just turning 65 getting onto Medicare, if those people are no longer coming into the pool because they can't, and the only people that can come into the pool that are new people to get on Plan Fs were people that were eligible for Medicare in the past, older folks, this will cause the amount of claims that the company pays out to be substantially higher than it would of a G, let's say, because the G is always taking on new, younger people. This will cause the Plan F's rates for everyone to go up, I'm anticipating. It might depend on the insurance company. Some insurance companies might be strong enough to withstand it, and it might not be as big of a problem for some, and it might not make that much of a difference. But for some companies, and a lot of companies, I'm anticipating this will cause the rates to shoot through the roof. Because if you have 1,000 people, and let's say 10 years down the road, 10 years down the road will be in 2029. Oh, I can't believe that. 2029, And every single person on a Plan F is 75 years old or older. A lot of them are going to be 80s, 90s. That's going to be a pool that is paying out a lot of claims, most likely. Now, you might be listening to this, and you might be in that age demographic, and you might take great care of yourself, and you might be as healthy as someone in their 30s, 40s. Most people, that's not the case. I commend you. But for most people, that's not the case. We have to look at reality here. I don't think it's necessarily such a bad idea to look at a G, to look at an N. But if you want to stay with the F and you have one, you very well can. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise unless they make a change to that. And if they do, it'll be easily accessible on Medicare.gov, the government's website. So that's Plan F and what to expect, folks. I just wanted to thank you again for listening if you listened this far. If you'd like to reach out to us, follow us on your favorite social media on Instagram. My company is called Christian Brindle Insurance Services, but I'm part of a larger organization that's owned by my father, Brindle Insurance Group. And I was taught everything I know from my dad. My dad's been doing this for about 30 years now here in Utah. I grew up around this industry. His career is older than I am. I am 26, will be 27 later this year, years old. But I've been working with people from a very, very, very young age. I have a lot of experience doing this. And I grew up around it. If you would like to follow us on social media for free content, free information, updates when things happen in the Medicare world, follow us at Christian Brindle Insurance on Instagram, Christian Brindle Insurance Services on Facebook, Christian Brindle on YouTube for our educational YouTube videos, Christian Brindle without the E, Brindl on Twitter, Christian Brindle on LinkedIn, and we will keep you updated to the best of our abilities with free content. Thank you so much for listening. If you're in a snowy, icy place, I hope this podcast finds you safe and not sliding on any roads or having any accidents. Hope you have a terrific week. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. You folks are fantastic and beautiful, and I cannot wait to talk to you next week. Take care.